All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in to another one from LearnBiz, the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about life as a vendor at the 16th annual Jazz in the Gardens that took place this past weekend in Miami Gardens, Florida. But before we get into all of that chit chat, we're going to go ahead and have a little conversation with Miss Lisa K. Crawford.
Good
Morning, Lisa.
morning. Good morning, Miss Sandy B. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's Tuesday. I can't complain. Woke up to see another day.
I know that's right. That's a beautiful thing. You know what they say? Any day above ground is a great day.
Yeah, except for with some of these so-called humans that we have, so-called humans, because I'm seeing stuff on social media spaces that I'm like, okay, why are we here? Why are we here?
Yeah.
So, guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about, the things that we do for our business to really promote and get out there. There's so many different avenues that you can take, but sometimes being a vendor at an event or participating in a panel or just being out there in the community, sharing information about your business, sometimes that is the best publicity that you can have and be out. Good morning, Rigo. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. We
Yes.
truly.
Good morning, Rigo.
So
Rigo.
before we get,
No.
yo, so before we get into the conversation, we want to make sure that you are aware. You can pick up a copy of your Learn Biz Entrepreneur Journal, a daily touch, now available on Amazon. You can get it into your hands in as little as a couple of days. But Lisa and I have been hitting that journaling, although I have to catch up this past week, man. I've been slipping on my journaling, but I go back and I
Oh,
sit
yeah.
down, I look at my calendar, I think about what I did, and I go ahead and journal so we don't miss a beat.
Absolutely.
All right. And then I wanted to make sure also that folks are aware that we have a business journaling group. And so we take the opportunity to share some of our thoughts and ideas about journaling, some of our thoughts and ideas about how to really best use the journal. So if you are not already a part of this business journaling group, please check us out on Monday, March 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a private link. It's going to be broadcast here on YouTube, but it's a private link. So please make sure that you reach out to us so that you can take advantage of that opportunity. Our email is at the bottom of the screen, learnbizllc@gmail.com. But you can also find us on social media at B is for BIZ on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. All right. So, without further ado, we're going to talk today about life as a vendor at the 16th annual Jazz in the Gardens in Miami Gardens, Florida. Lisa, have you ever attended Jazz in the Gardens?
I've attended before and I've had a really good time the years that I've attended. It's a great venue. It's a great venue. And I like the fact that wait, do they still allow people to bring the lawn chairs? Because I wasn't there this past year, but I know before you could bring your lawn chairs or they had different levels of seating. But I
Yeah.
really enjoyed just kind of camping out in a little grassy area, looking at a concert, being able to go over and pick up some food and socialize. It was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah, I will say the only missing piece of what you just said is there was no grassy area. This was unfortunately done on the other side. So if you think of the stadium and the way that it has kind of like a wraparound parking,
Hmm.
we weren't on the stadium side. We were actually across the street from the stadium. So for those that are familiar with Hard Rock Stadium, the turnpike ramp runs right next to the stadium. So if you consider the stadium would be on the right as you're coming off of the turnpike ramp, we were on the left in this like open, it's like a parking area. But they set up the stage, they set up the seating, but no grass, ma'am, no grass.
No grassy knoll.
No
Oh, you
grass,
kidding
no
me?
Grass. Good morning, Doug. Good morning. And
Good
side
morning,
note,
Doug.
Doug, I got to meet Miss AKA Lady in person. She was at Jazz in the Gardens this weekend, so it was really cool to see some of the folks that I've met in the YouTube space. I don't know if Doug attended Jazz in the Gardens, but I got to meet Miss AKA Lady. So shout out to her. Had a pleasure chatting with her briefly. She stopped by our vendor booth at Jazz in the Gardens. Um, so before I get into the the whole experience, I just wanted to let you guys know that Jazz in the Gardens is an annual festival. I know it's still called Jazz in the Gardens, but oftentimes they don't have too many jazz per se artists, but they do have a whole host of popular, as well as old school, some new school, some new artists that fill up their stage. This year, for me, the highlights were Jill Scott and Charlie Wilson. I think Charlie Wilson put on a show like no other. Unfortunately, I
Charlie kills it. I don't care. He's gonna headline anybody's stage. So watch out. If Charlie Wilson's there, he's gonna end up headlining. He's
that's
awesome.
that's facts. I mean, I've seen him do other things. I've never seen him live. Because he's been at a lot of different festivals. Unfortunately, sometimes you don't catch all of the acts when you're at these events because you're trying to wait in line for food, or you're walking around and meeting people. But he was definitely a highlight of the night, and what I will say is I wish that from my vantage point I could have really fully heard and seen the show. So I didn't really, where we were as vendors was kind of like set aside from the area where the actual show is taking place. So you'll notice when I show you some of my stuff that we're watching from a screen that is near the food vendors. So
Okay.
so it was a little bit of a different vantage point, but I think the show overall, I mean, the 2 days of festival was overall really great. People had their ups and downs about what was going on during those 2 days. But I'm gonna say, El DeBarge loved it. I
I
don't know much.
like it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I can't. Adam Blackstone, he did his thing. I didn't catch all of his show either. I didn't catch all of El DeBarge's show. I didn't catch any of Ari Lennox really.
Wait, sorry. I need to get updated. Who the heck is Adam Blackstone?
See, now we're not gonna do that. Now,
Okay, I don't even know.
Chris Brown did that to whatchamacallit the other day, Robert Glasper, and let's like you guys gotta, we need to show some love to our folks that are in the jazz arena. People be like, who is so and so? Who is that?
I
It's
need to
like,
catch up. That's what that means. I need to get updated. Thanks.
yeah, we got to get updated, man. Because I was like, who is Adam Blackstone? But I was like, I hope he black. So, but Adam Blackstone, he has a variety of sounds and experiences. I know he's had connections to several different artists, and what tends to happen at Jazz in the Gardens is they tend to put the jazz artists at the beginning of the program, which is weird to me because I always expect, maybe one of the headliners will at least be a jazz artist, but this is not that jazz festival. So this is a combination of different sounds. A lot of the artists are jazzy, but it's not just.
Wait, a lot of the artists are simply R&B artists, period. And I don't understand why these venues are calling it jazz. It happened in my hometown too.
Right.
We had the jazz festival, and in the early years, there were actually jazz musicians, maybe like Roy Ayers or some other, maybe Al Jarreau. I don't know, but even Doug knows jazz is a dying art form. And we really should, when we call it a jazz festival, we should really hold on to that and do some jazz.
Well, you got to blame the participants in some way because they still attend. Even though the word says Jazz in the Gardens, I don't see anybody saying anything. You get what I'm saying? So if you got people attending in droves and the numbers that they are, something's obviously drawing you to this festival, even though it says jazz. And I have some family members that are diehard jazz fans, and they were a bit disappointed after attending this festival since probably the first or second festival. Now I will do some pushback though. Jill Scott and Erica, notorious for infusing jazz into their music. So I will
Mhm.
say that the essence of that, it exists within several of these artists. Even in El DeBarge, when you really think about it, El DeBarge is not just your straight R&B artist. His sounds are very on the border of a lot of different mesh. I can't say the same for a Jodeci and a Ari Lennox. Obviously, they're your standard. Definitely can't say that for Sean Paul or Keisha Cole. They are, on the other cusp. But Charlie Wilson, you could say, has an essence of a lot of different things. He's old school and he definitely infuses a bit of the new school. So
Wait,
overall,
why is Doug over here saying that Mr. Ayers is a dirty old man?
Mr. Who?
Roy
Mr.
Ayers. See,
Who's Roy
see, see.
Ayers?
I'm. Roy Ayers is a jazz musician
Oh Lord.
from back in the day that my parents know of, and apparently Doug is aware. I'm aware. So, but as I'm saying, we need to make sure our art form doesn't die out completely. So even people like Sandy know about Roy Ayers, man.
I mean, I've
But
heard the name, but
I don't know why he's a dirty old man. That's what. But but anyway, Doug said he had the pleasure of meeting him, so I take that in jest.
he also said jazz is mostly celebrated in Europe. I will say that, and my family members who stopped by were like, they go to Detroit when they really want jazz festival. They go to New Orleans. They go to certain other destinations that still kind of hold the essence of what a jazz festival should look like. Now, I wouldn't mind if Jazz in the Gardens had, popular artists, whether it be R&B, pop, etc. But I think that they should maybe shift it to a similar style to the way the Essence Fest does it, where you have stages,
That's
so that you
cool.
give people the opportunity to fully hear jazz, but you also have the opportunity for those who enjoy the popular artists to participate as well. So there's just a lot of different ways that you can really put this off. But I was pleased overall with my time at Jazz in the Gardens, artist wise. Now let's talk about life as a vendor.
Life as a
uh
vendor.
that was a really really different experience. I'm going to probably put up whatever I can pull up because I can't seem to get the pictures from my phone to show on the screen. So I was sharing a booth with Kevin Pierre, which he's been on our podcast talking about his law firm, but he is
Mhm.
now the Pierre firm, as you can see in this picture. At least I hope you can see this picture.
Yes.
Okay, so he is now the Pierre firm, and so he and I decided, you know what? Let's go in on a table. Let's bring the two forces of personal injury and estate planning together, and we had a fantastic 2 days as a vendor. Now, it was some rough patches because we were trying to, really understand and figure out how to best utilize our experience. But we came out with it. We came out with our gear. So as you can see, Mr. Pierre over here has his
I
the Pierre
see.
Firm shirts. I was wearing my Your Legacy, Your Plan shirts, and
Nice.
my
What
my
else
friend.
does your shirt have on it up under your plan?
It says Spectrum Law Florida, and it has my Instagram handle at Spectrum Law. So
Nice.
if for those of you that might not know, my firm's name is Spectrum Law Firm Miami PLLC. I have decided to shift to a trade name, so now my doing business as is Spectrum Law Florida, especially since I serve clients throughout the state of Florida.
Cool.
So, but this is exactly, our whole objective was to make sure that we had a really great mesh. As you can see, Kevin has his Jamaican flags on the table. We ran out of Haitian flags because we're a combination at this table. And you can see this woman on the right hand side of the screen. She was full out Jamaican gear. She had a her yellow, green, and black outfit on. And the folks came out with their outfits like that.
I
That's without
know
question.
that's
This is my friend Jen. She always helps me at these types of events, and she was wearing my "Our Lives Are Not Fill in the Blanks" t-shirt.
Ah,
So this is something that I've been on the move to promote. Is I'm going to have pretty much a full line of shirts highlighting estate planning topics. This
nice.
this is my family right here. They came through, stopped by the table. They are
Aw,
they are diehard Jazz Fest attendees. So they're the ones that go to the Detroits and the New Orleans and travel to different places. So shout out to my cousin Stan and his beautiful wife Miss Charmaine. But we
nice.
had a really really great experience. Jen and I, we were doing our selfies,
Nice
enjoying
nice
ourselves.
photos. Nice photos.
Yeah, we were having a good old time at our booth. I even went live so that we could share some information about the experience. Didn't go live the second day. It was a different day, real busy. But the first day we had some little pockets of time, and as you can see, I'm wearing my Your Legacy, Your Plan shirt, and she's wearing the other one. But we really enjoyed our whole experience at Jazz in the Gardens as vendors. And I definitely recommend it if you're a business and you have a festival happening in your city. Take the chance. If you can't, full out, some of these vendor booths can be a little pricey.
Well, I
So if
wanted to ask a few questions if you don't mind, since I feel like you are the interviewee today.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so when someone decides that they're going to, become a vendor at an event, what should they take into consideration in terms of, what type of business they have, their products, what fits best in that category as in terms of a vendor table?
So I want people to understand that you have to think simple when it comes to these events. Think about your experiences going to events. Do you really want to be bogged down with carrying a bunch of stuff? Probably not. Are you going to be moving around getting food and doing all kinds of stuff? Yes. Do you want to make sure that you give folks things that can help them in their process? Absolutely. So at our table, we had some hits and misses, but one of the major things that was helpful is we had bags. We didn't have a whole lot of them, but when people were walking by that we could see needed a little help, we had a few in the stack.
Okay.
So giving people bags is very helpful, especially if it's a bag that can actually hold some things.
Now, was it a personalized bag or you just had just general bags to just help people?
Well, I'm going to try to see if I can find a picture of our table
Okay.
and see if I can show it to you. If not, I'll try to pull it up. But we had these clear, they look like gift bags, but they're completely transparent and have enough room that you could probably put your food in if you wanted to, or you
That's
could
nice.
put, some items that you pick up at different vendor tables. But see, can you see our table sort of? Yeah,
Yeah, I
you can
can
kind of
sort
see
of
it.
see it, yeah.
I don't know if there's a bag on the table right now, maybe not. But yeah, Kevin and his fiance were there. And we kind of, went back and forth with each other, splitting time at the vendor booth. Jennifer has always been there to help and assist. So having help, number one thing, making sure that you take advantage of the amount of spots. For this vendor booth, they allowed us to have 4 individuals for our booth. So
Okay, so
as you can see, I'm
4
gonna,
people can be
yep.
in a booth area. Were they
So I'm
air
showing you our
conditioned booths?
vantage point. This is where we were sitting, so you could see the food vendors from our positioning. Right
Yeah.
now, this was filmed before gates were open, and this is the young lady we're going to interview. She does these custom purses. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to
Nice.
chat with her soon so that we can get her on the show. But that's my bag right there, $175. Hook me
That's
up.
beautiful. So that's what I was talking about as well. So people who have products to sell,
Yes,
they're going to be great at a vendor type event, right?
yes.
Anybody with I've seen people who don't have products at all. They just have information.
So here's our booth.
Um
We're just information. So as you can see, we just have our signage. We have our business cards laid out. We have a spin the wheel. I hope I show that part.
Oh,
We have some
nice.
QR codes on the table. Kevin was giving away Jamaican flags, and I don't know what else that is on the Jamaican flag.
And for people
Um,
who don't know, when you say that you had QR codes on the
right
table,
there.
what do they do? What's that for?
You scan the QR code and you go to whatever the links are that we have
So
connected.
you use your phone, and because I said some people
Oh, see the
literally
bag
don't
right
know.
there behind it? You see the clear bag right behind the
Now
spin
I
the
can
wheel?
see it. The
Yeah.
bags are cute. The spin the wheels cute, but the QR codes for anybody who doesn't know, you can actually use your phone and hold it like you're taking a picture of that code, and then the information or link for whatever the code is will show up on your phone, and you can go right to that information. So
Yep.
it's a great way to lock in instant information about a business or go to their website.
Yes, indeed. So, I gave you as much as I could in this little bit
Well,
of
wait a
time.
second. I got another question. What did you guys do? Oh, it looks like Jen rolled her eyes at me. Jeez.
She,
What what did you guys do as far as like spin the wheel? Tell me how that went. Because that's
oh,
fun and interactive. I would stop at your table if you have some little game to play like me. I would be attracted to that.
so our spin the wheel was basically we were giving away gift cards the first day, which I got to send those gift cards out. Electronic gift cards, candy, hand sanitizer. So I had some hand sanitizer that I customized with a QR code that leads to a page that has both my information and Kevin's information. We had a free consult. So I gave away I gave away 3 free consults. We
Nothing
gave
like a free consultation with a lawyer. That's pretty great.
a $350 value, definitely worth the conversation.
Right.
Gave away some consults. Towards the end of the day, when we started to run out of, we had the bags too. So we were giving away some t-shirts. We gave away t-shirts with sanitizer and mask and Jamaican flags if they wanted it, etc. What else? We did an ask and I'll answer. We shifted from the gift cards when we ran out, and we shifted from the gift bags when we ran out to ask and answer. One was for Kevin, so he had like a yellow spot. No, I had a yellow spot, he had a blue spot. So if someone landed on that, they could ask us any question legally and we would answer it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, folks actually love that, and we're going to definitely use that for our next vendor booth opportunity. But spin the wheel is very helpful. Have plenty of business cards. Try to have some bags or something that you can put some things in. Hand sanitizer, because of our climate, is very, very helpful. It's very cheap. I think I got some hand sanitizer bottles for less than, I think it was maybe like 20, 25 bucks, a bag
like
of
the
50.
dollar store or something like that.
No, I ordered it from Amazon. I know I hate ordering from Amazon, but Amazon comes through in the clutch. So
let me ask you a question. What about the cost? I see Rigoberto has a question about that. What is the investment into a booth? And he was also suggesting that maybe LearnBiz could be out at one of these events as well in the future.
Absolutely. So the investment varies. So if you're going to do an informational booth, I don't know what their price will be next year, but this year's price was $800 or $1,500, depending on the booth size. So size matters. Ours was
Did I be saying ouch or what? Woo.
Nah, it's not an ouch. It's pretty much a festival of this scale. When you think about it, it wouldn't surprise me if the prices are in that range. $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000. So if you have a smaller booth, ours was the 10 by 10, which is really good size booth. 10 by 10, I think was like $850. A slightly bigger than that was like $1,500. Then if you have the booth, like the one next to ours, I think hers started at $2,000. So they have that size that she had, and then they have a bigger size that's a little bit more. The food vendors, I think, were something in the range of maybe $3,000 or $4,000, I think. And then I think they have like other sponsor levels and other things going on out there where you have the opportunity to promote your business. But I mean, with us splitting it, it wasn't a big deal. I think the biggest thing is understanding that the booth itself is not the only expense. You also have to have insurance to protect your booth.
Talk about that for a moment. What does that insurance look like?
Well, you got to get some general coverage of insurance for your business, your booth, etc. I don't think we spent more than, maybe it was about $200 and something for the 2 days. So that was another expense. And then the amount of things that we had at the booth that we purchased, I would say we probably spent a couple $100 more because you have to count. We bought some t-shirts, gift cards, the candy, the bags, the table covers, the table runners, the t-shirts that we were wearing, our vendor shirts, and the ones that we were giving away. We bought drinks for ourselves. We had, all of our, stuff. And then you have to calculate the expense because I write everything off. So it's like everything that was spent for that weekend is a write-off. So even our food, whatever food we purchased, that was also included in the business expense. So an event like this, I mean, you could easily spend $1,000, $1,500, $2,000.
Okay.
Now, I want you to look at the cost benefit analysis of this. If we spoke to, and our estimation is we had to speak to at least 100 to 150 people that stopped by our table. Out of the many people that attended, 100 to 150 that intentionally stopped and talked to us. We're not even counting the folks that may have just grabbed a business card and walked off, or grabbed sanitizer and walked off.
And so what does that mean? Well, how does that translate? And that's a very good point that you're making, that communication with people.
That translate into this. I've been doing this for about 8.5 years, and I'm still getting leads from conversations that I had with people at events back in 2015, 2016, and 2017. Today, 2023. So what it translates into is every single person that you touch is part of a network of people. So even when you think, that person will never contact me, it's not the person contacting you. It's who they tell about you.
That's true.
So if I even get one case from this, I've paid for the vendor booth.
Exactly.
One case. So that's why I say, people sleep on these opportunities because they look at the price and they're like, But here's the thing. You can't grow your business without exposure. And if you
That's
think
true.
about a marketing expense, there's nothing better than actually being able to physically connect with people at a large scale during a small period of time. So this is a 2-day thing. If we met 100 to 150 people, that's a lot of people.
And
That's a
what
lot of
span of
people.
time? So you would get at what time? Like, what time would you arrive? What time would you leave
Oh, good
each
question.
day?
Look at Lisa asking me the right questions. So our setup, so they started setup on Friday. So you could go there Friday anytime during the day. I think it was like between 9 and 5. I didn't do Friday setup, which in retrospect, we should have done Friday setup. It was very wise to do that because figuring everything else on Saturday was a nightmare. So Saturday morning, they allowed us to come in. So you see where the booths are. We were able to drive our
Oh, that's a
cars
really
in.
good picture. Okay.
Yeah. See where the booths are. We were able to drive our cars in and unload between 9 and 12 on Saturday,
Okay.
as well as on Friday. You could drive in at any time because there was no festival on Friday. But Saturday, you were only allowed to drive in between 9 and 12. And then after that, you could set up whenever you want to, but they don't want you driving in to interfere with the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, but as you can see, our spin the wheel, hand sanitizer, wild card, estate planning consult, something grab bag, candy bag, something else.
Cute.
So expense, definitely important piece to consider. But if you're looking to do something like a Jazz in the Gardens, I mean, honestly, it's just saying, all right, I want to do it, and then putting aside a few dollars. If you're gonna split it with somebody, let's say you need about 450. Well, no, hold on. You need 8, 6, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4. You probably want to estimate about 1,500.
Okay.
I would say on a fair side. So if you're splitting it 750, 750, what is it? 650, 650.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. But that gives a good estimate. Like I said, if you're informational, you just want to reach people, you want to touch people, and you want them to know you're there and how to reach you.
Yeah.
Which is how, like you said, the way you guys fell in as vendors. And obviously, there are other vendors like who actually have product, and
Yeah.
like the lady who sells the purses and things like that. So I think it's great. Now, if those food vendors, if it costs them $3,000 to get a spot, they must be killing it on some fries and fish, huh?
Well, I'm going to tell you
Because that's the line I would have been in. I'm telling you.
pricing for food vendors was up there. That I'm going to tell you right now. Pricing for food vendors was up there. I think I got a lobster burger and fries. It was like $30.
Baby,
No,
a
no drink,
lobster
no
burger?
drink, no drink included. It was about $30. But I'm gonna tell you something. They gave me some lobster for that $30. Like it was
I
a
would hope
nice,
so.
because I was gonna be crying. But I think with everything, you just have to take it with as what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes things work out the way that you want it to. Other times you just have to take it as it is. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a great experience, and I wouldn't say no to that experience in the future. I think it was a great experience, and it allowed me to do some things in terms of my direction for business that I would have never imagined. And then the other thing was, it was just one of those experiences that you have to at least have once or twice.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
it gave you some great exposure. I know sometimes we don't recognize the things that we have in hand that people value. And I think that just being a part of this event gave me just some different perspectives on some things. And, I had a great time. I really did.
Well, that's
I would
good.
highly recommend trying to do an event like this. I'm not saying you have to do Jazz in the Gardens. I know that it's a price. But for me, a person who needs to communicate with people in whatever form, for me, it was worth the expense, even though it
Absolutely.
was a huge expense. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, next year we're gonna
so
have to sneak some tables on some LearnBook journals on that table you and between you and Kevin and sit them right in the middle and see if that or we'll get our own booth. But let me ask you a question. What other type of vendors did you notice that were present there at the event?
I'm gonna see.
Besides the food vendors.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
We could not.
Uh-oh. I lost you, it seems like. Well, we'll get Sandy back here momentarily, but I've thoroughly enjoyed her going over what her life as a vendor, the life in the day of a vendor at the Miami Jazz Festival, Jazz in the Gardens Festival, that is. So I thank Sandy for coming on and being a guest of sorts and letting me ask her all type of questions about that experience. I find that based on everything she said, it seems reasonable. But 2 or more businesses can go in like her and Kevin. They're 2 different attorneys. He practices personal injury law. She's in the area of estate planning and guardianship law, but it worked. 2 attorneys sharing their information. So, we have to be creative as entrepreneurs and make these opportunities fit. But I think that was really great. And what's important is that, like Sandy, you're back with us here, right?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
My last question was asking you about who else was there in terms of what other type of vendors were there, and were there a lot of vendors there? That's the other part I wanted to know.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do a video with all of the pictures because unfortunately I was having some technical issues. But let me go down my food vendors list. So we had a company that was selling fried seafood platters, and they literally had all kinds of stuff, anything that you can think of, seafood on a platter mixed together. You had a lot of fish and chicken vendors. I saw another
Mhm.
one of those. Um, the Queen of Conch was out there. I don't know if that's the name of her business, but that's what was on the outside. And I met the actual Queen of Conch, but they were all setting up, so I couldn't really talk to them. There was a company called Williams Southern Gems. And it looks like they had like Southern desserts and different little platters and things like that. Um, there was a company called uh, Bonanza hibachi rice bowl or something like that. They
Mm.
had a lot of shrimp, steak, chicken, and the whole nine. There was your signature funnel or fried Oreo funnel cake, uh, cheesecake egg rolls company. There was a company that named themselves as the best crab cake winner from the New
Mm.
Orleans Jazz Festival.
Getting hungry. Go
Um,
ahead.
there was a company called Kingston Delight, so we had some Jamaican food in the building. Um, there was a barbecue jerk, ribs, brisket, pork. They had all those. A lot of these companies were doing fresh lemonade as well, like their own lemonade signature.
Mhm.
There was another Jamaican restaurant that I didn't get to stop at, but they had Jamaican patties and all kinds of other stuff, but I didn't get to go over there. Another conch stand. They did conch salad in different configurations. There was another food truck called Superior Eats. I don't really know what they were serving because I didn't stop there, but I tried to take a pic. Oh, it says boneless souse, and it has
Loud, loud, loud.
boneless pork souse. And then what else? This one was also seafood, conch, fried crab combos, fried lobster, fried conch. Some of them I couldn't tell their name, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that we should consider when we're going to be vendors. There was the smoked turkey leg and the roasted sweet corn. You know, they had that on lock for sure.
Oh, yeah.
There were the elephant ears and cheesecake egg rolls, different types of elephant ears, different types of fried Oreos. And the booth that I spent probably more of my time at was called Lovely's Urban Fusion. And they had the lobster burger and lobster bites. And then they had some combinations of seafood and chicken and stuff like that. So it was really nice. So that's just the food vendors. Then let me go to the other vendors. I saw FAMU, Alumni Association, the Miami-Dade version. They
Okay.
were out there promoting. They have an upcoming event that I may consider doing a vendor booth at, called Be Out Day Miami. It's happening on March 18th, and basically they're bringing vendors together. They're bringing all of the Divine Nine and the FAMU alums and folks from other HBCUs. Um, there was the lady that was next to me that was selling the custom made purses. Her company is called Ziva Nasir, and she does handmade luxury handbags.
Nice.
There was a vendor that was an artist. His name is Stuart McLean, and he's out of New Orleans, and he makes custom pieces. So when I get a chance, Lisa, you and I, we might have to do a recap of this again, just focusing exclusively on the different vendors, once I
Okay.
can get this together, because I tried, it just didn't work. But
Okay,
he
no
does
worries.
custom pieces to your liking, beautiful pieces. I mean, they're life size. They're literally floor to ceiling size pieces. Um, and they're all kinds of jazzy influences, lots of color, lots of African influence and Southern New Orleans, the whole nine. There were a couple of t-shirt vendors. I know I saw a shirt that said, "I wish a Will Smith would."
Oh my god.
I saw one of those. I also I bought some body butter from a gentleman who sells a line called Berinini, um, Berinui or something like that. I bought the Black Love Shea Butter, body butter,
Mhm.
and I bought my boo the Creed body butter. It smells really really good.
Nice.
So there's something for the men and the women. But this was really good, black owned. As I said, we'll share some of these vendors and experiences. I also saw folks like the NAACP out there, the Miami Dade chapter. I saw folks like the folks who sell a lot of the African garb.
Mhm.
There were at least two different booths that had a lot of African garb,
Love
dresses,
it. Love it.
pantsuits, sandals, purses, you
Yeah,
name
I
it.
would have been a nah. I would have been a nah.
Look, I tried not to buy too much. I only bought the body butter. I really stayed away from the other vendor booths because I knew it would be bad. So I saw I wish a Will Smith would. Um, Half hood, half holy. Those are some of the t-shirts at this booth. And another shirt says sit yo, and it says sit yo. I don't
Yo.
know what the rest of it says. I wish a Karen would. This one says, I don't have the energy to pretend to like you today.
Wow.
um, Let me see the other vendor because I walked straight down here. Maybe I don't have pictures of the end. Radio stations were out there.
Yeah,
I know that I
nice.
saw 99 Jams, 1035, 1023. There was one that was right next to us who brought the Steve Harvey Morning Show banner over to us. So I have a video where we're talking to the cardboard Steve Harvey.
Honey.
um, so yeah, as you can see, I mean, there was just a whole bunch of things. So before we wrap up, because I know I don't want to go too long, we're already tapping on time, but some tips for vendors, and I'm going to speak about food vendors and other vendors. People are coming to your table with a desire to get something, whether it be information, whether it be a product, whether it be whatever. You got to make your stuff appealing. We worked on some things. It wasn't, we didn't have the most fantastical setup, but I feel like we learned some lessons and figured out some things along the way that will
Mhm.
apply the next time we do this. Signage is everything. We really need to make sure that our signage is very clear, because people would walk to our table, and if they caught us on one side, they'd be like, oh, personal injury. Then if they walked up on the other side, it'd be like, oh, what's Spectrum Law Florida? Because I didn't have like my practice areas. I kind of forgot to, add some stuff like the phone number and all that.
Mhm.
All the hype of the event.
Yeah.
But it's important to have your clear signage about what you do, because sometimes people will walk up because of what you have written that tells them they want to walk up.
Mhm.
Other times, people will walk up to find out. So it's like you have to kind of decide on that defining line, how much you want to put out visibly and how much you want to be able to share when they actually come to step to your table. Um, the other thing is be creative with your clothing, and be mindful of the weather. We're wearing black shirts, but I'm going to tell you this. The only reason we weren't burning up sweating is because of the lovely lady, Miss Tracy, who makes my shirts with Fruitful Apparel. Shout out to Fruitful Apparel.
Shout out.
She makes these she does these really soft material, thin, lightweight shirts that are thick enough to really keep you covered, but that are thin enough, it don't matter what color you're wearing, you're still going to be nice and cool. So our shirts were fantastic. So you got to be mindful of weather, make sure you're wearing comfortable stuff. I was wearing some comfortable stretchy pants and sneakers, and my friend as well, she was wearing comfortable clothing and sneakers. Stay hydrated. Some of these festivals are out in the heat. As you can see, our vendor booth is completely contained. It has electricity. We had our own fans that Kevin brought, thankfully. So shout out to Kevin for being prepared for that.
I
But
was thinking about that, AC or fans. So you guys did have fans in there.
yeah, so hopefully I panned the video again and you can look, because I'm going to keep this playing so you can see the different parts of our table. But we had these little portable fans. I'll try to list them in the description once we can finalize. We had our fans. We had a cooler full of water and stuff for us to, this is our shirt, our lives are not fill in the blanks. We had a cooler filled with drinks, including Gatorade. I know some people don't like Gatorade, but that's what we had. You might want to have coconut water or some watermelon drinks so that you can stay hydrated. Bring some little snacks. You know, we had some little small little things that we can nibble on, because you don't know if you're going to get to the food area early or late when you're doing a vendor booth. So you got to make sure you're hydrated, that you have food, and go to the bathroom early before the crowds.
Oh yeah.
We had our heavy drinks, those big old cups that you see us drinking out of that were massive. We had those heavy drinks very early on, before the gates were open at 3. So we went to the porta potties before everyone else got to go there. Thank God.
Smart.
The second day, I bought a $5 bracelet so that I could use the chalet, is what they called it, which is air conditioned bathrooms. Like they were regular, like portable bathrooms that were air conditioned and had the whole fixings. Worth it. I rather spend the money than not, especially when you're sitting. You know, we sat at the vendor booth from like early 12 o'clock hour till like 10 o'clock at night. So, and look at Kevin and his boo.
I see.
Now, do you see the handle of our bags right there, Lisa? It was a clear plastic bag. It
Yes.
has like a wooden looking handle, and there's a fan right there. You see the little small fans?
Okay.
Yeah. So ignore our junky table. You know, nobody's there yet. So we were still kind of, you know, setting up and stuff like that. But, and we brought our own chairs. So they gave us chairs, but I had my own chairs that were way more comfortable. So that's important too. Bring your own comfortable chairs. Bring anything that's going to allow you to be restful. Bring a change of clothes, just in case. You know, bring some flip-flops if you want to free your toes or something. But you know that it's hot. If you look at the exterior, so once I step out here, you'll see the exterior of the booth. It's self-contained, 3 walls, ceiling. So we weren't dealing with the hot sun, which was blazing, but it was breezy.
All the way over across the way there?
Those are the food vendors. That's where the food is. So behind us is another row of vendors, and the concert part is behind us.
Got it.
So we're not facing the concert part. So you see how her booth is self-contained. Hers is a little bit deeper, I think, than ours. I want to say, but she has a different setup than the rest of us, because she has like different little pieces the way hers is. But so those table covers, you can get those on Amazon. I probably spent $20 for a pair of 2. Be mindful, different table sizes, so you always got to double check. Our table sizes were 8 foot. So I have 8-foot table covers and I have 6-foot table covers. So no matter where I go, I'll have something that I can use.
Okay.
These were 8-foot table covers, and these little banners, I got those from Fruitful Apparel. I think she sells them for like about, I don't remember how much, maybe 30 or something dollars. But you check your pricing, because I think it's based on what you put on it and what type of material The spin the wheel, got it on Amazon. I don't think I spent more than $20, maybe 25 or something like that. The little bags that I got, those clear bags, maybe about $20 for a pack of 30. Business cards, you can get about 250 for $50 or less, depending on where you get your cards from and depending on the style of card. And then be ready to spend a little on food, mark it off as a business expense. Buy yourself some food. Don't go stressing yourself over the other stuff. And stay sheltered.
Love it. Thank you that was so detailed, but whoever really takes the time to share the inside scoop on being a vendor. So thank you so much, Sandy B. Law, for being out there in that space, meeting all those people. You're right. You did yourself and your business a world of good by being there. And so we can all learn a lesson in entrepreneurism from what Sandy did this past weekend, getting
Yes.
out there in vendor land.
And I'm going to add one last note. I forgot to add this. Customer service is important. Some of the booths that I went to, I was like, you all are lucky that people don't have other options. You're real lucky that people don't have other options, that you are here and they have to purchase from many of you. But some of the customer service was a little iffy for some moments. Now, I understand a lot of people are agitated. Sometimes people come with their little attitudes, but you have to understand, as a vendor, your goal is to serve the customer. I'm not saying to take disrespect, but there's a way to approach certain things. And so you have to be mindful. I would see certain people, and some of the folks had like smaller, like teenagers working their booths. We got to teach our teenagers how to keep their facial expressions in check. Like, you shouldn't be rolling your eyes at customers.
Right.
You shouldn't be like twisting your neck, looking crazy, looking at them like, who you talking to? Like,
Right.
I understand some people come with the disrespect, but there's a way to approach it. And you don't want to turn off other customers that are in the midst, because
That's true. You got to realize people are out there drinking,
yes,
might have a little something up under them, having a little fun. And all that has to be taken into account if you're in the business of dealing with customers.
yes. And some of the issues that I saw at the vendor booths could have been alleviated if people would either invest in technology, think more carefully about logistics before setting up their booth, improve their signage. So this line is order, this line is drinks only, this line is pickup. We don't take credit cards. Put a notation, or we only take credit cards. We don't take cash. Like, you got to improve. You got to think of the visual from, what is the customer going to see and how do I want them to see it?
That's a good idea.
And also considering there are technological tools out there. So maybe instead of having someone stand in your line for an hour and miss segments of the show that they paid a lot of money to see and have them be pissed off at you, why not have a system where they place their order, they get a text message when their order is ready, and then they can come back to the booth and pick up their food?
That's what's up.
I'm sure there's a resource like that. Or take their phone number and just text them when the order is ready. Like, don't have people standing there wasting their time when they just spent $200, $300, $400 on tickets to go to a festival,
Right.
only to stand in your line.
Right. You shouldn't have to call DoorDash,
No.
otherwise miss the whole concert. Come on.
No, if I was a food vendor, I would have probably one person designated, and I would just set it up where there's a phone. If you don't want to pay for the software, pay one person to sit there for the day, get all the orders, and as the orders are coming through, write down the name of the order or the number of the order, and then once the order is ready, send a text to that number. Even if you had to do it manually, I would say you should do it.
That. I totally like that.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of different tips and lessons. We might have to do a part 2 of this, because then I can go into some other stuff as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was fantastic for me. Let me show you guys a couple of things from the Jazz in the Gardens page. And then we'll close out. But thank you so much, Lisa, for being the great questionnaire. You gave me some things to think about. I'm not gonna
as well. You did that for us. You gave us all things to think about, things we take for granted because nobody ever really stops to talk about the details of this.
Yeah.
But it's important for people who are thinking about getting into this space. They want to hear what the details are.
Yeah. So I'm not going to play audio because I don't want us to get dinged by anything that comes up with this audio. AARP was out there. I just showed you Adam Blackstone right here. This is Adam Black, not this guy with the guitar, this guy in the middle. So Adam Blackstone was there. Artist, has a lot of different.
Have a great day, Doug.
Thank you,
You
Doug, for
too.
joining
Yeah.
us. Um, and then, of course, you have El DeBarge. He was pretty good. I enjoyed hearing him in the backdrop. There were a lot of politicals and DJs, and parking was arm and all legs. Um, the seating, these were the
The
reserved seatings.
seating, oh my
Yeah.
god, in the hot sun, sitting on that right there, I've had that experience before.
Well, a lot of the
That is
black folks didn't
not
sit.
fun for suction purposes, I'm telling you.
Girl, a lot of them black folks didn't go out to their seats until the sun went down. So it was
Smart,
funny. Um,
smart.
but they had a lot of, the weather was really breezy. So even though it was hot, the weather was breezy. So we had, a good time. Look at El DeBarge preparing in advance for the rhythm of the night. Tootsie's was one of the sponsors. They had a lot of sponsors, a lot of little side events and DJ stuff, and a lot of little action going on. They celebrated the mayor's birthday. They
I love
had,
that band right there called Deep Fried Funk. That's
oh
a
yeah,
great band. I've
sorry.
seen them around locally before. They are an awesome band.
Yeah, I want to say either they were playing in between. They said something about second stage, but I didn't see where the second stage was. So that's kind of weird. I don't know where the second stage was. But this was the lineup for the first night. Jill Scott was fantastic. I loved El DeBarge as well. I didn't catch much of the other performances. Jodeci, I heard a little bit, but I didn't really catch a lot of the performance. We had a little busy patch. Um, so the police were out there, of course. This was the venue. They caught a lot of really nice pics showing where everybody was coming into the Jazz in the Gardens, and I love their setup. It seemed like they were pretty organized in getting everything together, and check out those vendors, um, and showing you all the options that there were. But it was an overall great time and experience. They were talking to different people about their experience. Of course, the reunions of the HBCUs. Adam Blackstone right here getting it going.
All right.
um, El DeBarge, of course, singing the hits. Ari Lennox, Dion Cole was the host. I don't know if you're familiar with comedian Dion
Oh,
Cole.
yes. He's funny.
Ari Lennox did her thing. They asked a lot of questions of participants. There were some folks on the side stage as well. Jody Hill, 305. I'm not sure. Official Deep Fried Funk Band. That she's with them. It looks like, or she was performing with them. It looks like.
Okay.
Then you had, of course, Jodeci came on. Bless them, bless them. I love the old school artists when they come through and show you that they still got a little something in the tank.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Jill Scott, Miss Jill Scott, for those that don't know. Miss Jill Scott did her thing. She came out Afro kicking. She did everything from her first album, Who is Jill Scott? Words and Sounds, Volume 1. Fantastic album. If you've never listened to it, please do. Make it happen.
Nice.
Look at the
Nice.
folks jamming. Look at Jill.
She's sharp.
She real sharp. So I don't know. I don't know if you can tell, but I had a really fantastic time. Erica Badu started real late, so I didn't really get to catch much of her performance. But Uncle Charlie, I
Uncle
caught Uncle
Charlie took
Charlie.
him home. Took him home.
Yeah, Uncle Charlie. Sean, a lot of people said Sean Paul was really good too. I didn't catch a lot of those because I was in line wasting away trying to get just a little bit of food. So I don't get me started on my food weight. Look at this little orange right here. I can't.
Funny.
All right, so I think we're wrapped, but thank you guys so much for listening in. I don't know what Keisha Cole was wearing, but she sure enough came out with something going on here. I don't know what this
Keisha
was.
is into cutouts.
Look, she cut it out for real because I was like, what in the world? But she sang a lot of her hits. I didn't catch much of her performance either. That is unfortunate, but Sean Paul, he came out with his hits because he got a hit for every occasion
Oh,
under the
yeah.
sun.
Daddy, daddy.
Uncle Charlie came out with his glitter jacket, threw down
I
the hits.
love Uncle Charlie.
He even
Love
sang
Uncle
he even
Charlie.
sang the yams. He's like, "Can I get to
Oh.
the yams?"
Oh,
Sweet
my.
yam. All right, Miss Erica, she ended the night, but yeah, it was fantastical, y'all. It was fantastical. So thank y'all for joining us in this journey. As
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing the life as a vendor at the 16th annual Miami Jazz in the Gardens. That's great.
Absolutely. So we'll talk some more about it, guys. So please don't forget to purchase a copy of our LearnBiz Entrepreneur Journal. Check our business journaling group out, which is happening at the end of the month on the 27th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just prepare yourself by making sure you have a copy of our journal, and you'll be able to make it all happen. All right, guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Until next week, guys, we'll do it again.
Have a great one.
Have a great one.